Hi, I'm Jim Miller with another edition of On the Road. Today I'm in Maggie Valley, North Carolina at the Wheels Through Time Museum with Neil Bailey. Neil, tell us a little bit about, you've been here before, so tell me a little bit about what we're going to see here today.
Well, Jim, firstly, great to be back on the road for Born to Ride as ever. Good to see you up here in my neck of the woods. As you said, we're at the Wheels Through Time Museum. This is a 40,000 square foot facility. It is stuffed full of American motorcycles. There's 240 vintage American motorcycles here from the turn of the century all the way through. 23 different marks are represented here. And the whole collection inside the museum is the work of one man, and that man is Dale Wachsler. And this is just the most incredible place you have ever been. Everything in this museum runs, and Dale is probably going to fire something up for us and tell us a little bit about the museum today.
As I walk around here, I am just amazed and speechless at some of the things that I see. And watching Dale take visitors and crank up an old motorcycle and rev the thing up, it's incredible. And everybody is just flabbergasted and excited, almost like a kid, to see these old bikes run.
What's been really nice for me, Jim, is since I came to Wheels Through Time a couple of years ago, is becoming friends with Dale. I've written a lot of stories about the museum. We've done some really cool projects. I followed Dale as he restored a 1924 Harley Davidson, brought it back to life. Last year, back in the summer, Dale took out his 1936 Great Race motorcycle. It's a development engine Harley. He took an old panhead. And we spent 3 days riding along the Blue Ridge Parkway, and it was just tremendous.
Well, I'm really excited about this. Why don't we see if we can find Dale and have him show us around?
Well, you know what, Jim? I think I saw him down at the old workshop working on a generator or something. So should we see what he's up to?
That old vintage shop that he's got down there?
Yeah, he was working on a piece sitting over there. So let's go see if we can find him.
Come along with us.
Hey, Dale, what are you up to there?
You know, I was trying to make this 1918 Bosch Magneto spark again. My Henderson's a little weak in the mag area, and I thought this might bring it back to life. Looks like I've got it working pretty good.
Last time I was here last year, we went out, we took a ride in the Blue Ridge Parkway. Let's talk a little bit about that ride.
You know,
what were we riding?
That was really such a great ride. You know, the yellow motorcycle, the 1936 prototype Flathead 80 was the bike that Wayne Stanfield rode in the Great American Race from Ottawa, Canada to Mexico City in 1995. And that's kind of my regular rider bike. And of course, the green bike's a 56 Harley Panhead that came from right here in Maggie Valley. A really interesting fellow that was a musician, thought this would be a good home for it. And what a great time we had. You know, we put 500-600 miles on in a weekend and love to do it again.
Tell us how you got started. Give us a little bit of, this didn't just happen overnight, I'm sure.
Well, you know, I think probably a very important event in my life when I was 15 years old, I bought an old motorcycle, and a friend of mine sold me an old bike about the same time. Sold me this whole 1938 Harley Flathead for $90, and I was in the process of fixing up my old 52, and in working on those two bikes, I sold one part off that 1938 Harley for $125. And I said, I think I could do this the rest of my life. And, you know, 38 years later, 24 years in the motorcycle industry, here we are at Wheels Through Time, and it's really the living history of what we all love.
Tell us a little bit about some of the specialty bikes. We have a bike here called a Traub. I mean, this is a fantastic piece. What's the story here?
I really think people drive thousands of miles to look at the Traub motorcycle, hear it run. I drive it pretty regularly, almost every day. And the Traub is such a unique piece. It was discovered in a bricked up wall in Chicago in 1967. And at that time it was realized that there was no, other than the maker's name, there was no history of this particular make or mark of motorcycle. So 35 years later, we're still looking for maybe a clue to whoever could have built this motorcycle. After it was pushed out of the bricked up wall in Chicago, it went to California. Bud Ekins owned the bike for a while, and of course Bud was Steve McQueen's stuntman and a very interesting fellow. He sold the bike to a fellow named Richard Morris, and I had been in Richard's garage and saw the bike some time ago and fell in love with it, and in a subsequent conversation with Richard, he informed me he was going to sell that rare motorcycle, and after some deliberation, I was the next owner. Now it's here and it's delighted. You know, 100,000 people have really enjoyed looking and seeing that motorcycle run.
What are some of the special parts about it? I mean, what made it so different from bikes of that era?
Well, it's really so unique in manufacturing. If you look at Harley-Davidson or Indian of that same period, they had a staff of drafting people and pattern makers and machinists, and the Traub is actually superior in most ways to other motorcycles of its same time period. It has a very unique engine. It has a 4-inch stroke and a 3.5-inch bore. It's 78 cubic inches. It has a very novel 3-speed transmission that has 2 neutrals that are indicated on the shift pattern with a 0 rather than an end, which is unique. It has double acting rear brake. All the controls and tanks and frame are all hand built. It looks like it's a factory produced model, but no known history of that particular maker.